One of the most disturbing psychological challenges of parenthood is a child who is chronically irritable, angry, and who explodes into temper tantrums. Irritability can have a damaging effect on the child's development, the parent-child relationship, and family life. What's worse, parents become desperate in their attempts to calm their child. And when nothing works, parents often feel useless. Usually, such children learn to depend on their parents to soothe them because they lack strategies for self-calming. And because they are irritable most of the time, there are many reasons a child is irritable or has problems regulating his or her mood. It is helpful for parents to understand what might be setting off the irritability, as well as learn ways to help their child learn to stay calm. This short guide will help you achieve exactly that by showing you an easy-to-read, easy-to-follow method to help calm your baby. Why are children irritable? There are several reasons why children are irritable. Sometimes there are medical problems like chronic ear infections, severe allergies, or urinary tract infections that may make your child uncomfortable and experience pain. A common problem frequently overlooked is an intolerance to milk. Children who rely on a diet heavy in gluten, wheat products, or sugar products can experience frequent mood swings and become picky eaters. Some children are born fussy and have a difficult temperament. Children with a difficult temperament are usually more intense, have a hard time tolerating change, and distress easily. Children who have problems with organization and planning often fall apart when they are required to come up with a new way of doing things. In addition to getting overstimulated easily, these irritable children often get angry when they have to organize themselves to perform a complex task. This problem is commonly associated with attention deficit disorder, executive functioning problems, as well as motor planning issues. The truth is, it's very difficult to diagnose a mood disorder in very young children, but irritability is a factor in disorders such as anxiety or depression. As your child grows older, you may notice other things that point out to the fact that there is an underlying mood problem that goes beyond the fussy, irritable temperament. When the mood problems are unresponsive to typical solutions presented in this guide, a consultation with a developmental or behavioral pediatrician or a child psychologist is important. However, an important aspect for parents to keep in mind is that what the child needs most is to learn how to self-calm on his or her own and to tolerate distress and frustration. This is a major focus of the strategy in this guide. It is important not to overlook the impact that the parents' moods have on a child. It is not unusual for children with mood problems to have parents who also struggle with their mood. There is also the genetic component. You may have a grandparent who had been diagnosed with anxiety, or you yourself struggled with a mood disorder your entire life. When children are exposed to a parent who is angry, irritable, or depressed most of the time, they learn to respond to these strong emotions. How does a child become calm? Every child has to learn how to handle his or her own distress. Initially, the parents calm the child. As they read their child's cues and see what works, they come up with a set of soothing strategies that work for their child. The child begins to mentally process these strategies and gradually takes over the task of self-calming. The process of becoming a well-regulated person depends on certain skills. The child also needs models in the environment for how to become a good self-calmer. Here are some methods that help a child become well-regulated. When babies cry, it helps them to have a responsive, caring, and sensitive parent who helps them calm down. This gives the child the message that their basic needs can be met and there are ways to handle distress. This step requires that parents know how to read their child's signals and gestures, as well as have a host of calming strategies at their fingertips. As a child matures, he learns to internalize strategies to self-calm. Consistent use of good calming strategies helps the child learn which ones to call upon in different situations. The child also observes others solve similar problems and learns when and where to use which strategies. Calming strategies and environmental modifications are most useful when one anticipates what could go wrong and have things in place for that moment when the child needs them. This leads to the importance of teaching the child to understand the precursors of irritability, to anticipate the onset of frustration and distress, and to use appropriate strategies that are available. Guidelines to make your child become a happier child. Rule out medical problems. When an infant or child is inconsolable, it is important to determine if the child has any medical problem that may be the primary reason for the crying or chronic irritability. Address irritability-generating sensory hypersensitivities. Inconsolability may be related to hypersensitivities that the child has to environmental stimulation. These hypersensitivities may include clothes that agitates the child, noises that overstimulate him, or too many activities in a room that create an overloading effect. Avoid overstimulating your child. A common problem confronting the parent who is trying to console a crying child is a tendency to become frantic when their efforts do not seem to work. You may find yourself rocking your child in a forward and back motion for a few minutes, then swinging your child in the air when the crying resumes. Help the child become more self-reliant. Many parents complain that their child is constantly whining and demanding their attention. To help build the child's capacity to organize himself and decrease reliance on the parent to entertain him, you should try playing with your child for about 10 to 15 minutes using the child's favorite toys. Read the full guide at http://bit.ly/2cfekim or click the link below.